And I apologise, but that's all we've got time for today, Nicola, and now I think it's time to go back to the studio.
New government figures are pointing to a sharp rise in drug abuse in cats. OMG News prepared this special report. This first cat is showing signs of withdrawal as it's desperately trying to get into a box which it believes contains its next fix. The second cat we see has also moved on to drinking alcohol. As you can see, this cat is not only taking drugs, but has also got vodka in its bowl, which is why it can no longer stand straight. And finally, as you can see, this cat has taken too much heroin and can no longer jump. Well, with me I have Tanya Thorne, head researcher at the Animal Psychology Institute. Now, these figures are absolutely harrowing. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, as you remember, a few years back there was a large protest about the lack of regulation in the catnip industry, it being very easy to obtain and very cheap, and also the fact that owners were able to grow it themselves at home for their cats meant that it encouraged catnip use, and the protesters were very worried that it would act as a gateway to harder drugs.
And of course these include sedatives, and I believe I'm right in saying the horse sedative ketamine as well.
Yes, as you can see in the video, there were some very, very terrible effects from all these different kinds of drugs.
So what action can be taken?
Well, we believe it's very important to talk to your cat, preferably as soon as possible. If you could sit down with them when they're kittens and explain to them the dangers of drugs and the dangers of catnip in particular, then it would probably prevent the horrible things like in the video. And some kind of cat school is probably very, very good idea, as a lack of education causes all this drug use.
So a cat school, I mean, in the same way you'd sit a teenager down and explain the dangers of drugs, cat schools for cats?
Yep, cat schools, and you sit them down, talk to them about the drugs and explain to them all the dangers, the effects they can have on their lives.
Going back to the report, how did you obtain these results?
Well, it was very interesting. We did a study on rats, and the rats we exposed to catnip were very much more likely to move on to harder substances when offered.
Yeah, so how did the rats then react to these drugs?
Well, one of the experiments was, we put the rats in a barn, and to make it less like an experiment, we gave them some techno music and some lights, and it was crazy. The rats that had been on catnip started dancing, and they tried to find other rats from whom they could obtain these harder drugs, and they ran out of money and they had to go and steal and sell cheese, and it was really, really bad.
That's really shocking, isn't it? I mean, could we expect similar behaviour from cats?
I think we could, but it would be very much worse in cats. Cats being kind of present in homes and being around children and their owners, and also having large claws and teeth.
And finally, do you think we could see the end of cats?
Yeah, if cats got too into this drug, then they wouldn't be very good pets anymore, and it would be terrible.
Well, Tanya, thank you very much indeed for being with us. Appreciate your time. And it's time now for a roundup of the news where you are.
Good evening. Bad news for iPod users and crocodile hunters. Although it's unlikely many people do either of these things, listening to your iPod while being engaged with a crocodile could cause cancer, scientists have announced. The Queen was not amused earlier this week when her chauffeur announced he would be taking part in a new X-rated movie. He was hung at dawn from the Buckingham Palace battlements. Scotland Yard has revealed that there has been a steady increase in violent attacks by wasps. They claim to have intelligence reports that they are linked to Al-Qaeda and are one of the largest sleeper hives in the UK, living in groups of up to 10,000. A new toothpaste made to taste like the River Thames has had its production postponed after the results from the first clinical trials said it tasted like urine and dead whale. Gordon Brown was shocked when he was dining in celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in London. When the chef approached him to express anger at the state of the country, the chef's head was reported to have quite literally exploded, much like the inflation rate. Gordon Brown says he is mortified that there was a dead celebrity in his soup. Chickens in London were doomed after the level of pollution in the city reached a critical level, where gas clouds were so thick that the small birds could no longer fly. Sony have introduced a new line of digital cameras with special features such as anti-intoxicated autofocus, which corrects blurry photos and also to make the subject appear as if they have lost 20 pounds. Healthy eating groups are worried that this will make all models appear anorexic and set an impossible standard for young women. And finally, in sports, news sports news, Manchester United Football Club have worked in collaboration with the popular social networking site Friends Reunited to create a new website for Manchester United fans so they can get in touch with other fans and people they have sat next to during matches. The site manchesterreunited.com will go live next Monday. That's all from us. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much, Matt. You've been watching OMG News. Goodbye.